Welcome to Nexus Edge, the show that'll help you get an edge on your competition. My name is Turd Herder, and I'm your esteemed host, Nexus Edge. This is the Week 5 recap of Season 7. We missed it last week, but we're here and we're ready to rumble, so let's get right into it, guys. Today, I've been joined by my full cast of panelists. Starting at the top, we have our regular Edge panelist, Mr. Ziltoid.
How's it going, everybody?
And we have, filling in for Wono, we have Ryokai.
Hello, hello.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing good? Yeah.
Good.
Had some good weeks in NGS, got 2 dominations, so.
That's what I like to hear. Very nice. And we have been joined this episode of Nexus Edge by our exceptionally exceptional returning guest, none other than Slexia.
What is up?
She's a robot today.
Yeah.
Hi. Welcome. No, yes, we're ready to rumble. I'm here. I'm not as nervous as last time. Palm's still sweaty, but I'm ready to go.
Perfect. So, for those that don't know who you are, why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh boy, here we go again. So I am Slexia. I am just a person that plays Heroes of the Storm. I also cast. And, you know, just live my best life, mostly online playing games. I tend to get a little bit salty, and that's it. That's all. That's everything about me.
Perfect. I actually saw this season something that's new. You're competing on a team.
No, absolutely. I was filling for a team.
Oh, yes, I saw the tag on the Discord.
I know it won't go away. We'll fix that. We'll edit this out for good measure. Region Anomaly, a Division C team. I was helping sub in for a couple of games, and now I am just yellow forever in the Region Discord and tagged in the NGS Discord.
Perfect. So when you are playing Heroes of the Storm, what is your favorite hero to play?
It's always Sylvanas.
Always.
But let's not get into that because, you know, Ryokai is the Sylvanas pro, and I can't handle any feedback ever. So
I was going to say, this is exactly 2 Sylvanas players.
Yeah.
Today I started playing Sylvanas.
Sorry, not Paradox didn't make a video on me playing Sylvanas. So. Let's just put that out there.
There you go.
Speaking of not Paradox, also, I did cast for his tournament of BS.
Really?
Had a couple of NGS players, and yeah, it was a bronze and silver tournament only, and it was just all free agents put in random teams. It was a lot of fun, and you know, it was good to see some familiar names.
Man, I missed my invite. The bronze boy.
I know.
NGS.
Maybe next time. So. Well, that's great. And I also see, I know I follow you on Twitch. Anyone out there who doesn't, I highly recommend it. I think your tag is usually Hots and Chill. Hots and Chill or Saltiest Stream on Twitch. Sometimes it includes me wearing my tilt-proof kimono. I try to do that when I know I'm going to be in for a few losses. It never really works. I believe in breathing in and exhaling all of your tilt into an imaginary balloon and letting it go. Those are the things I like to do. Yeah, I have been streaming quite a bit, so do check me out on twitch.tv/Slexia. I stream other games too.
That is correct. Alrighty, guys, before we get on into it, I do want to do a quick shout out for our NGS Patreon. You can find that patreon.com/Heroes Nexus Gaming Series. And there you'll find all of the tiers that you can contribute. The NGS obviously is a volunteer organization, and the swag and stuff you get by participating in Patreon is really neat, and it helps keep the organization going. So if you have an inkling of wanting a lanyard, for example, with the NGS logo on it, or any other of the cool swag, go ahead and do some Patreon stuff and hit one of those buttons. So there you go.
Hey, quick question about that. Is there still the extra tier, the Weenus one, some sort of, what is the highest rank in the Patreon?
The current highest rank, as far as I know, is the Moist tier. Here, I'm gonna look it up.
Right, the moist tier.
Oh, so
wow.
moist. I think I want to say it's still available.
Someone
As
better
of recording.
snag that.
Oh no, it's sold out.
Rip.
But the next highest is the master level, which gets you a mug and a t-shirt. I am currently a master of NGS, apparently, because I really wanted a mug that had the logo.
100%.
That's 1000% my motivation. So, all right, guys, let's move into it. This is the meat and potatoes of the show. It's the NGS Power Rankings.
Sorry.
Yeah, I get better at that every week. So this is, of course, our personal subjective rankings. We've had some input from our behind-the-scenes analysts. We've come up with what we think is the power rankings. Obviously, if you're in the top half, we are projecting that you'll probably make it to the playoffs. If you're in the bottom half, well, there's always next season. So let's get right into it. Let's start with our heroic division. Is that going to be Ziltoid? Is that you?
I was handling heroic in A this week. Ziltoid's handling B. Yeah.
I'm bad. So, Ryokai, go ahead. Why don't you start us out with heroic?
Sure thing. Okay. So, at number 1, we have a new top of heroic in NGS. I feel like that's a, whatever, prestigious placement. In Yikes S tier. So, Mismo skill shots. Yeah, it was previously the number 1, and they took 2 domination losses this week. So I have them dropping down to 5th, which is probably like the biggest change shakeup here. And so they got kind of dethroned. And so Yikes S tier and Slub Gaming both are still undefeated in matches. Yikes S tier has dropped single games in those matches. And then Slub Gaming did have a forfeit early on in the season when they were still reshuffling their roster a little bit and stuff. But I think Yikes S tier does have a little bit of stronger matchup wins than Slub Gaming so far. But that's a very close 1 and 2, and so those teams definitely, if they match up some point in the season, look out for that one because that'll be a good match to watch. So at 3rd, then I have Keanu Reeves. They took a 2-0 over Insomnia and a 2-1 over Probe 1. So those are some lower ranked teams, but they did get 2 match wins, so I moved them up. Slub Gaming, by the way, was one of the teams that took a domination over Mismo skill shots. So
I casted that.
Obviously, yeah, that was a good match, and it looked like Mismo skill shots. Like after those 2 losses, like I don't know, it changed my opinion of them pretty drastically. I would say, let me put it that way. And then at 4th, I have BBW. They took the other 2-0 domination over Mismo skill shots, so that's why kind of Mismo skill shots drops all the way down to 5th there. Then at 6th, I have Archon. They took a 2-1 over Nobo Esprouts, who then comes in at 7th, and so they drop down a little bit, and Archon shuffles above them pretty much. They had the 1-2 loss to Archon, so that makes sense there. Amazing didn't really change. They had a 2-0 over Dread Pirates, but that's kind of an expected outcome there from that matchup. Probe 1, they have actually taken a game off of Keanu Reeves, who is now ranked as high as 3rd on my list. So Insomnia, by comparison, had the 0-2 domination loss to Keanu Reeves, so I edged out Probe 1 slightly above them and just shuffled those 2 around. And then Insomnia at 10th and Dread Pirates at 11th. So
very nice. And I was going to say on the Yikes S tier, I saw actually a tweet today from John Knight, and he's really, really happy because they're actually number 1 in the standings. So shout out to him for, I guess this is the first time he's ever been in first place in NGS. So, fingers crossed for him that he can keep it. So that's all I had to say about it. Ziltoid, what do you think about these power rankings that Ryokai put together? Would you have anything different?
I think it's fair. I think you always have to take in remaining matches into account and seeing what's coming up further in the kind of in the season. So Yikes S tier still has some tough opponents to beat to really solidify themselves up as number 1, and Slib Gaming is one of those. So it's going to be a tough one, I think, between those 2. But if they pull off the upset, that would be one of the first times in like in NGS where Gaming has actually taken losses that weren't forfeits. So looking forward to that whenever that comes round. Missimo skill shots dropping down a lot of spots. I think for the week that's a fair placement, but I the thing about all NGS games, whenever you see, sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days, and that can be the situation where this week they just didn't quite get it. And BBW is a good team that has struggled to find the wins in certain matchups, but have always threatened the stronger team. So not a big surprise, and that's pretty much all I got to say about it.
For the record, week 9 is Celeb versus Yikes S tier.
So it's a flex match.
No, week 9 is.
Oh no, right? It's a longer season.
Yeah.
So that'll be the very last week before playoffs. So that could be a spicy preview there.
Certainly.
Very interesting. Slexia, what do you think of Ryokai's power rankings here? Do you agree? Disagree?
I agree. I have a soft spot for Nobo. Obviously, I'm moving from A to heroic. So, and then obviously last season having Dread Pirates go from Div C to A and take that, then being put in heroic, I think is tough for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess I have to agree, but that doesn't mean the skill isn't there. It's just it varies widely.
Oh yeah. Well, and before this, Nobo, of course, being at 5th place, so definitely still holding their own in this division. So, alrighty, Ryokai, why don't you bring it down for Division A?
All right, Div A. So I have Gilly Shark, Sky 5, and Rewind as my top 3. That doesn't really change from last week. Like I said, Gilly Shark, they have only dropped 1 map so far this season to Regen Ghost. Other than that, they've had all dominations, so they're pretty still clear as number 1. Sky 5, they only dropped the map to Fulu Screws, so that's kind of a weaker team to lose a map to. So, and I think they've also played, 1 less match than Gilly Shark, so they have less domination, less points currently. And then us at 3rd, we had the unfortunate 2-0 domination loss to Regen Ghost the week before. So we're gonna say that was a fluke. We got 2 dominations this past week or two. So of our Team Happy Cloud and Lion Speed. So we're back settled into our groove now, hopefully. So we'll hopefully keep that going and maybe surpass Sky 5 towards the end of the season here. I believe we still have to play Sky 5 and Gilly Shark, so we get to potentially still make a run for the top spot there. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Gilly Shark, I casted one of their games as well. I was able to snag one. I know Bahamut likes to get those. And who was it against? Who was it against? Ryokai, help me.
I will have to go double check.
Gilly Shark and Wipe Them Again? Are they A?
Yes.
Yes.
So maybe it was that. I'm not one. I think it was. And I just could not believe their gameplay. Their Samuro was absolutely insane. It was an Infernal Shrines game 1, and I swear the game almost ended at 8 minutes. It was insane.
Yeah, they've had some very fast games. They had one on Cursed Hollow, I think, that was 7 minutes or something like that. 7 minutes, 20 seconds.
How does that happen?
So yeah, I don't know. When they win games,
Samuros,
they win games. So
yeah, they win. And they did 2-0 that team, and it was just insane. It was so fun. And I don't know. I feel like they're super strong.
I believe it.
I mean, I agree. I think they're going to be our main hardest competition, and I think pretty much the rest of the division probably feels the same way. So yeah. So then at number 4, to go back to the rankings here, I have Regen Ghost. Maybe their win over us was not a fluke, because they also now are the only team to have taken a game off Gilly Shark as a follow-up to their performance over us. So I think they're a pretty strong team. Their maybe strength of schedule in terms of the teams they've played and stuff might not really reflect that super well just yet. But I think as the season goes on, I think 4th is a pretty solid place for them. Then I have them shuffling above Team Training Wheels, who drops down to 5th. They took a domination loss against Gilly Shark and Sky 5 for their past 2 matches. So both of those are top teams. It's hard to fault them too much for losing there. Right. But at the same time, taking some losses while the other team is getting some wins, kind of felt like I had to drop them down and just shuffle them for now, at least, until we see more out of both of them. At 6th, I have Lion Speed moving up to 3rd. So they did get 2-0'd by us playing this week, but they did have a 2-0 domination themselves over Few Loose Screws. And they did also get dominated by Sky 5, who won versus them. This is part of my own little bias or first-hand experience, whatever you want to call it here. But their games with us especially were very close, hard-fought games that they've been some of the closest games that we've had this season. And so despite that being a 2-0 victory for us, like that didn't feel like a very clean 2-0, and it felt like a hard-fought, close game that both of those games went to like level 20 or 22 or something. So I think they're a pretty strong team, and I think their results don't really reflect that. So I have them moving up. I think they could be kind of a dark horse for the division or whatever, where their results might not really reflect the strength of their team as closely as you might think. 7th, I have Regen Retro. They're moving up. They got a really, I think, solid 2-0 domination over Wholesome Halfwits, who I previously had at 6th. And so they dropped down, and I had Regen Retro quite a bit further down, and I also had Few Loose Screws quite a bit further up. Part of this is I'm adjusting for kind of like 2 weeks of power rankings here since we skipped the week, unfortunately. So that's maybe a little bit more drastic of a shuffle than it should be, but yeah. So then at 8th, I have Wholesome Halfwits. They took a 0-2 domination loss to Regen Retro, but they did beat Inner Domination Team Happy Cloud and Few Loose Screws. But unfortunately, those are some lower ranked teams, so I think the loss kind of hurt them, and had to give Regen Retro some credit there. 9th, I have Wiped Them Again. They took a 1-2 loss versus Into Deep, so although they are below them, they also lost 0-2 against Skilly Shark, which again is kind of expected, but they did have a 2-0 domination over Few Loose Screws. So I think they're going to be floating around the middle bottom area of the standings there. Those teams can still shuffle around, based on getting a couple good domination wins as the season still goes on and finishes off here. 10th, I have Into Deep. They took a 2-1 victory over Wipe Them Again, as I previously mentioned, and they also took a 2-1 over Team Happy Cloud. So that's why they're moving up there a little bit, and Team Happy Cloud is dropping down. And that's about it. They also had another 0-2 loss against Skilly Shark. That's kind of expected. Pretty much everybody has one of those at some point so far this season. At 11th, I have Team Happy Cloud. Again, they have a 1-2 loss versus Into Deep, and then they also have a 0-2 domination loss versus both Rewind, Wholesome Halfwits, and Regen Ghost. So they had a really tough string of matches there that keep them pretty far down in the standings. And then Few Loose Screws, early on in the season, I had them ranked a little bit higher. They had taken a game off of Sky 5, and so I had kind of thought that maybe, if they can take games off those top teams or whatever, they might be a threat and kind of middle of the pack. But now they've had a 0-2 loss versus Lion Speed, Wholesome Halfwits, and and Few Loose Screws, which is weird in my notes because that's themselves. So I think I messed that up. But yeah. So they had a couple strings of bad losses there, so they are going to unfortunately drop down as currently last place after One Spit and Thrice Pie withdrew and dropped out. So
very nice. Slexia, any thoughts here? Or
just there's evident people in the lead, teams that are just dominating this, and it sucks for those that have started rough because it's kind of too late to pick it up. You know what I mean?
Right
at the bottom.
I think are we halfway through the season at this point?
Or maybe like slightly under halfway. Well, it depends on flex matches, I guess, still, but
yeah, I guess the regular season, not counting flex matches, I think we're halfway through for all of these divisions. So you're running out of time. You're starting to run out of time to kind of gain back those spots, to kind of piggyback what Slexia is saying here. So, very nice. Anything else, Slexia?
Nope.
Perfect. Ziltoid, what do you think? Do you agree with Ryokai's placements here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, especially since Sky 5 still has another match behind both Gilly Shark and Rewind, they can juggle for that top spot, and they've looked really strong all season. So I think top 3 is pretty well established. It's Gilly Shark, Sky 5, and Rewind, and I don't really see any of the teams underneath those 3 actually threatening those positions. any of those teams is gonna end up in one of those three positions, and it's kind of hard to know exactly what those will be. As far as 4 through almost all the way through the rest of it, it kind of gets a little bit less sure. I think Regen Ghost definitely is probably going to stay quite solidly in that spot, as Ryokai said, number 4. I think the big ones that have been kind of climbing up the standings and still have a bit to go are Lion Speed and Regen Retro. So Lion Speed, they've taken 2 losses, but against 2 of the top 3 teams, which all of these teams underneath them are most likely going to lose to.
Right.
That's almost certainly going to happen with a possible upsets happening from Regen Ghost. So and they're kind of the one that sits on the edge there that could be a real threat. Team Training Wheels has shown that they can, but at the same time haven't really stabilized me in that position, and they could still lose to teams like Lion Speed coming up in the future here. Regen Retro, though, is the biggest point winner in the last couple weeks, because they've been able to post victories, which we weren't entirely certain. They were sitting at the bottom of our lists for quite a long time, so it's nice to see the climb occur and that they've been able to find their stride and get some wins against at least the rest of the teams. And they have a lot of those top teams out of the way already, so it's not at this point the rest of the season can be more in their hands.
Right. We're filming Saturday night. They're actually playing in a half hour here, Sky 5. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there.
So, but I think all of the last spots, 5 through 5 through 11, 12 even is kind of up for grabs, and that's going to juggle around, I think, a bunch before we get to the end.
Perfect. Alrighty, Mr. Ziltoid. Why don't you keep talking as we move on to Division B East?
So starting with B East, my rankings are going to start with Jailbait at the top, making a 4-position jump from number 5, as they have, and this is what happens too as well in a lot of times when you're looking at the power rankings. I also want to look forward and see who they have left to match up against.
Right.
What I kind of expect those games to somewhat be like, and and where the potential points are still lying that haven't been decided yet. And Jailbait has climbed quite a bit, won all of their matches, and they still have a lot to catch up with some of the other players, but they're getting there. And the fact that they haven't lost a game since basically against Reborn Knights of Black definitely puts them solidly up there in the number 1 position for me at the moment. We'll see going forward. Beast Coast is the big one. They've only played 5 matches, so the fact of the matter is they haven't lost. Period. I think they might have dropped a map or 2, but they haven't actually lost a set. And they still have like 3 more sets to catch up to a lot of the other guys that have played 7 or 8 so far.
Right.
So if Beast Coast wins all of those, we're going to have a pretty solid idea of who's sitting at the top. Minion Miners is another one that got a good win over some of the top teams like I think they took out HOTUS recently. And that definitely puts them farther up. And they'll be competing for one of those top 3 spots, again, based off of kind of their recent performances. HOTUS and Reborn Knights Black. HOTUS is hard for me to drop down here because they've actually had a pretty good run. But they did lose 2 Minion Miners, and so I felt like if that's the matchup, one of them has to drop in, and so here's the United States is going to drop to my 4th position.
Right.
But don't count them out. They, even if they get a 3rd or 4th or 5th or 6th spot in the playoffs, you always have to watch out for that team. Pretty much always. Reborn Knights Black is the big loser this last little bit, as they haven't been winning games. So they dropped some matches, and it's caused them to fall in the standings. I still think they're a solid top contender team, no doubt about it. I think the top 5 we see right now should be what we're going to see in various different positions at the end of the season into the playoffs. Buff Chen got a big victory over Murky Hit Squad, which helps propel them up. But they got beat by Trump. So, in fact, the real Ultimate Mosh Pit is another big mover. Actually, they swapped positions with Regen Phoenix, as they took some big victories the last week here. So they're going to slide up. Rush B hasn't moved yet, although still, and mostly it's because they're still sitting in a middling spot. Their recent performances haven't been amazing, but they're still sitting points wise ahead of Regen Phoenix, and I feel like that's still going to be the case, especially since Rush B is a team that did beat Regen Phoenix. Regen Phoenix, unfortunately, has dropped down our list drastically from week 1 and has slid all the way down to the number 10 spot. Standings still have them in a playoff position, but I don't know if that's going to be maintainable going forward. And then aside from the two that are out, Winston Churchill Manatees still has been struggling to find a victory. So the fact that they haven't been able to win means they're going to stay near the bottom.
So I had a quick question before we open it up to debate. Beast Coast, you have at number 2, and looking at the standings, it looks like they have the fewest matches played. I wonder what, if any, impact you've taken that into account here.
That is the I haven't put them at the top because they haven't played the matches. So Jailbait has, obviously, we've seen evidence of them performing well and earning the higher position.
Right.
Beast Coast still has yet to prove themselves, but based off the fact they haven't lost yet, and I still consider them probably one of the strongest teams in this division, they have the potential to grab up all those points and then just blast ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
But
and I see,
they're going to stay in the number 2 position for me right now because they're still sitting in a spot where they have to prove it.
Right. And I see that they are playing Jailbait on Monday, actually.
That'll be a big proving point, and we'll probably see us, some change up in the power rankings if they take the victory there, which I think they very well can. So,
absolutely,
we'll see how long Jailbait's reign of supremacy continues.
Ryokai, what do you got to say about it?
I pretty much agree with most of it. My top 5 are in identical order. I do think that top 5 cluster there, kind of like My Team Rewind, Sky 5, and Gilly Shark in A. I think all those 5 teams are like a pretty clear 5-pack above the rest in themselves or whatever, and it's a really close 5 between them. So I think that's B East might be the most competitive division in that sense. Super tight, especially at the top. So props mostly to Mongoose, I guess, there for the placements this season. I have my 6th through 8th shuffled a little bit. So I have the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit at 6th, Buff Chen at 7th, and Murky's Hit Squad at 8th.
So it looks like you're giving more credence to Trump beating
Buff Chen.
Yeah.
They also beat Winston Churchill Manatees, also in a domination in the past week or whatever. And their loss to Murky's Hit Squad was a 1-2 loss. So it's kind of a little bit less bad compared to taking a 2-0 domination, I guess. Buff Chen, like I said, they did take the domination against Trump, but they also 2-0'd Murky's Hit Squad, and then Murky's Hit Squad only had the 2-1 or the 1-2, forget which way, versus Trump. And they were one of the teams to take a game off Beast Coast, so that does still keep them above kind of those lower 9th, 10th, and 11th spots for me. But then losing to Buff Chen, they did take a 2-0 over Regen Phoenix, though, in a domination. So unfortunately, they're kind of beating some weaker teams and losing versus some more middling teams. So I have them lower compared to the other two. But other than that, my list is pretty much the same. So
very nice. Slexia, what are you thinking?
So this is the division I'm least familiar with. I really have no input that would have any clout whatsoever here.
It's all good. I know very little also about this division, except that I know that Jailbait, Minion Miners, and some of the others from Division B like to chit-chat a little bit in the Division B chat. So it gets a little spicy sometimes. So I think on that note, let us move on. Ziltoid, help us out with Division B West.
So this is my home division, and there's a lot of movement that's been happening over this last week or so.
Yeah, a couple weeks here.
Number 1 spot in its current status is Soak Every Lane. Like Unemployed Gaming, they've only lost one set, but they didn't get dominated. So that is the reason why I have them a slightly higher. Unemployed Gaming does have some games to play. I think they're one behind Soak Every Lane, or one or two matches behind them. So they also have room to move up. And given how well they've been looking and taking out Reborn Knights White in a 2-0 dominating fashion the other day, it wasn't like it was completely one-sided by any means, but they did get that victory, and that put them up there. Uncomfortably Numb did slide down, and this is the same kind of reason I moved Beast Coast down. Uncomfortably Numb still has a lot of matches to catch up on, so they could very well take top spot if all their consecutive matches from here on out continue to go more or less how they've been going for them so far, which is they haven't lost. So just like all those top three right now are sitting at one loss apiece for the top two. Uncomfortably Numb hasn't lost anything, but they still have plenty of matches to play, and that's the uncertainty level there is interesting to see where we are. Reborn Knights White still moves up, as they've still been maintaining a strong position over the past couple of weeks and getting victories, but they did lose to Unemployed Gaming. But given that being a top team, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. One of the reasons why I think they move up is that Reborn Knights Red has moved down, losing to Roll One Esports. So that's more or less kind of where the shuffle began and kind of where Reborn Knights moved up one. Logical Decisions did get the 2-0 domination over who did we play? Roll One Esports and Who Knows Gaming. So that did help us solidify our position in the middle of the pack at 4th or 5th. I think in the standings we're 2nd or 3rd in points, but we've also played a lot more matches than others, so there's plenty of opportunity for teams like Uncomfortably Numb to move up in the standings. And then of course that's why Reborn Knights Red is below. They did lose to Roll One Esports, and it was a big good game. Really, really tight set, actually. Totally worth watching. Definitely it was good. But the one that I just casted the other night, Who Knows Gaming versus Deviled Kegs, was a nail biter. 2-1 victory for Who Knows Gaming after their 2-0 domination over Regen Blue. So Who Knows Gaming has actually jumped up 4 positions in the standings here. I liked their gameplay. They took off a team that. The thing about Deviled Kegs is that while they don't have a super winning record, they've done well into a lot of the teams that are kind of considered on the higher end of the division so far.
Right.
I don't think that they've been dominated or dominated anyone yet. It's kind of a bit of a both, or they might have one domination. I can't remember. Reborn Knights Red, for example, though, has never dominated and has not been dominated. They've only ever won 2-1 or lost 2-1. But Deviled Kegs, the thing about them is they still have a lot of matches left over, and considering most of their hardest competition I would consider is actually out of the way, I expect them to actually score some points here coming up in the next few weeks. So they're sitting 8th position, but you could definitely see them jump up really fast and take those spots away from things like Who Knows Gaming. Reborn Knights Red can threaten logical position in the standing, or logical decisions to position in the standing. Roll One Esports has dropped, but they've also they've gone up because they did take out Reborn Knights Red in a close series, and that's a good start for them to start getting onto the victory run. But they lost to Deviled Kegs, and they lost to Logical Decision 2-0. So despite the fact that they did get a good victory over Reborn Knights Red, they're still going to stay near the bottom of the standings. And part of the reason they've moved up, really, outside of the win over Reborn Knights, was the fact that Arrogant Nephilim and Regen Blue have not had good weeks. Both teams just dropping pretty much every set that they've played so far, which is one of the major reasons why we see Arrogant Nephilim and Regen Blue dropping. And actually, Spooky Ghosts has won 2 sets, so they're actually ahead of both Arrogant Nephilim and Regen Blue in that matter. Or is it no? They've won 2 sets but lost, but they won one with 1-2, whereas Regen Blue hasn't, and I don't think neither has Arrogant Nephilim. But the other reason I think the point standings might be still in favor of Arrogant Nephilim over Spooky Ghosts, but Spooky Ghosts, like Devil Kegs, still has only played 5 matches. So they still have a lot of opportunity for themselves to get points on the board. And I think they took it was like a 2-1 versus Reborn Knights White, which tells me that they have potential to beat some of the other teams that are sitting near the bottom of the standings, like Arrogant Nephilim, like Regen Blue, like Roll One Esports, those kind of things.
Sounds good. Yeah, and I note so Deviled Kegs, it looks like, the only domination that they've received was from Soak Every Lane. So what you have as the number 1 team, and then Regen Blue actually had a domination. The only win they've had was over Reborn Knights White.
Yeah.
So, all right, very nice. Ryokai, what do you think?
Again, I think I pretty much agree with the top half of the division. Pretty much, my 1 through 6 are all the same. But below that, I have the 7 through 12 are a complete shuffle. So
Nice.
I had Roll One Esports at 7th, Who Knows Gaming at 8th, and Deviled Kegs at 9th. So they've all just kind of like shuffled 1 or 2 around there.
Yeah.
I guess I just placed different value on some of the wins versus the losses or whatever. Like you said, you have to kind of take into account the strength of schedule of who they've already played, who they still have to play, stuff like that. So that's kind of its own thing there. The thing I would say I mostly disagree with is I have Regen Blue at 10th, Arrogant Nephilim at 11th, and Spooky Ghosts at 12th. So swapping around of Regen Blue and Spooky Ghosts there. Regen Blue, they did take the 2-0 domination over Reborn Knights White, who is now up at 4th. And they lost versus Spooky Ghosts, but it was a 1-2 loss, and they had a 1-2 loss versus Reborn Knights Red. So both of those, I think, are, decent teams. Maybe the Arrogant Nephilim or the Spooky Ghosts loss there is not the best for them, but being able to take a domination over a top higher team in the division, I think, is pretty solid. Arrogant Nephilim, they have a 2-0 over Spooky Ghosts, and they also have a 1-2 loss versus Reborn Knights Red. So similar, matchups or whatever, to Regen Blue. And then Spooky Ghosts, I think they only have 2 map wins, and they have taken one of those is a game off of Regen Knights White, and one of them is a game off of Regen Blue. So I don't think they've won a match yet. I could be wrong.
They beat Regen Blue.
The record or the thing says 1-2.
Yeah, I don't know if I missed a match there or something, or if it didn't get reported on the website. That I could very easily be wrong there. But that was currently how I had it stacked up.
Very nice. Slexia, I assume nothing on this one?
Other than the fact that the team name Spooky Ghosts is probably one of my favorites that I've ever heard. And every time I see it, I'm like, I need to cast them. Spooky Ghosts. Wow.
Yeah, Spooky Ghosts
inspired by Leoric, perhaps?
Yeah, sorry. Spooky Ghosts lost 2-1 to Reborn Knights White and then beat Regen Blue 2-1. So I don't know. I think it's kind of hard to argue about the bottom of it. And like I said, I gave Spooky Ghosts a little bit of advantage based off of the fact that they still have a lot of matches to get through.
Right, yeah.
All right. And now moving right along into Division C East. So we don't see a whole lot of movement here at the top. However, what we do see in this 3 through 6 position is we see Wood League and Lubu jumping up above Calculated Throw and Durton's Couch. So Wood League was just on a domination streak this week. They got a domination against Nexus Cats. They've gotten a domination against Regen Anomaly, and they've gotten a domination against Lubu. Now, I kind of struggled with what do I do with the Lubu Calculated Throw Durton's Couch, but I thought that because Lubu took the domination over Durton's Couch, which is previously was a number 3, a third place team. I thought that entitled them to at least be in the 4 seed there. And Calculated Throw, I moved them down. They've gotten dominated by Do It Right, who actually have had a little bit of a couple of good games, couple of not so good games. So they're in an interesting spot sitting at number 7. But Durton's Couch is kind of the the big downward shift this week. They lost 2-1 to Die for Vision, and then they got dominated by Lu Bu. It's really hard to argue, when you have winning teams winning and Durton's Couch not so much. So I put them at 6. Die for Vision, of course, going down. They did dominate Save the Murloc, but I guess I could have kept them up at, I don't know. As I'm reading this, I'm like, man, I could have put them at 7 too. Yeah, I might actually switch that before. I think I'd put Die for Vision at 7 and Do It Right at 8. I'm just not sure. Those two are pretty close. Regen Anomaly got 2-1 win over Do It Right. And that's kind of why I'm thinking Do It Right maybe moves down here. And Nexus Cats going down. They just keep on getting losses. So hard to go this way when you're going this way with your score. So putting the Nexus Cats at 11. Bancho not moving a whole lot. So we're going to keep them at 12. That's what I got. So Slexia, what do you think about this?
Well, I'm sad about Nexus Cats. Love those people. But for Region Anomaly, I want to point out that they got their first W, and I think that's excellent. So they, moved up a rank, and it's been a struggle for them. And I think Carve has been so humble, and he was in his interview on that when, it's been growing pains for the team. It's a brand new team that has members that have not played together for a long time. I know Carve was on Region Red last season, and having subbed for them, it's just they're trying to find the right balance. And I think they're as individuals strong. They just need to work on working together and maybe move up this season for the rest of it, or next season come back stronger. But that's my input.
Well, I think they have a pretty decent strength of schedule going in here into the end of the season too. They're going to be playing the Nexus Cats, they're going to be playing Save the Murloc, and they're going to be playing Bancho, which are all teams kind of in the bottom half. And Calculated Throw, although I put them in the top half, they seem to be kind of hit or miss with some of their games. So I think Region Anomaly definitely has some good opportunities to do well the rest of the season. So good for them.
Good for them.
Good for them. Ryokai, anything before I move on to Ziltoid?
Like I said last week, C and D are not my divisions of expertise or whatever, so no, don't actually have much to say. So I'll pass it over to Ziltoid.
Perfect. Ziltoid, give it to me straight. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good across the board.
I honestly thought you were going to have a lot to disagree with.
No, I don't. I think actually most of this is quite fair. Yeah. Bugin Squad and Winky Face being at the top, it's not a really big surprise at all. Bugin Squad being slightly ahead in the power rankings makes sense in the sense that, of course, they beat Winky Face. But I would also say don't be too arrogant about those victories there, Bugin Squad, as there's definitely room for a team like Winky Face to bring it back. And they've dropped maps against Calculated Throw, who's dropped down into the standings, as well as Save the Murloc, who's not high up at all in the standings. So, and
Bugin Squad has a really tough schedule going forward.
Yeah, they have to take on a lot more of the middle teams, and higher teams as well, which is going to be interesting. Wood League is one of those teams that I think can absolutely put the Spurs to Bugin Squad. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes, considering that they're on such a win streak right now. They take that confidence forward. They should be looking good. Yeah, Lubu losing to Wood League, I honestly don't think is unfair in the sense that Wood League has just been looking better and better and better every single game I see them play. So they did lose. It was a domination, but it wasn't a stomp. It was definitely a close matchup between those two. It was definitely not a... There was no clear winner just decided in draft or anything like that. It was well fought. Calculated Throw dropping down. It's kind of sad to see. They started off the season really strong. But they started running into the harder teams, and that tends to start putting things a little bit more difficult for you. Die for Vision is a strong team in matches. Anytime I see them play, they always have a chance to win. And in this matchup, in that matchup, that'll be interesting to see. Sorry, it was Do It Right that took the victory. Is who I meant.
Yeah, that's what. You know what? I'm going to change this right now. Actually, doing it live, guys. Was it Do It Right? There we go. So
yeah. Anyways,
keep it
that way. But I still think that Calculated Throw is plenty of time to secure their spot where they are, and I think that they'll still remain in the playoff seed. I don't think anyone below them is going to flat out take it from them. I think 5th spot is probably where they're going to stay. Dirten's Couch, lost to Lubu and a loss for Die for Vision, and that's good for Die for Vision. And if you watch the match, I actually replay casted it this afternoon, so the VOD should be available, and you could watch it. It was Dirten's Couch had a really good game number 1 on Battlefield of Eternity, but after that, Die for Vision turned it on, and they really made the 2 second game and third game especially look very strong, and they came into that matchup looking like they had what they needed to get the win. So don't underestimate Die for Vision. They are a strong team and will be contesting that 5 through 8 spot for the remainder of the season, no doubt about it.
For sure.
Do It Right getting a victory over CT is big, but then losing to Regen Anomaly definitely does kind of take wind out of their sails a bit there. But, again, this division is very tight. A lot of these teams can beat each other in the right circumstances. So it's not that much of a surprise. Save the Murloc, I think they took a victory recently. Or am I wrong?
It's unclear. Let's see. Schedule...
Doesn't matter. Anyways, but Nexus Cats, while you have been losing... I think that you also have gotten all of the really big guys out of the way.
I think that's right.
So there is an opportunity for you guys to pull into a playoff spot if you can pull off victories in the remaining matches. And I do think the schedule favors Nexus Cats. So you should have an opportunity there. And then Bancho's just had it's a hard division.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a very tight division. These, you have small losses, 1 map losses, it seems like are really the big things. And I know I've been saying it for a couple weeks now that this is, it's going to come down to some of those really tight matches. But yeah, like you were saying, Nexus Cats, we do have a we're playing some middle of the pack teams coming here in the upcoming game. So that'll be interesting to see. So who knows? Anybody's chance at the playoffs. So let us move on to Division C West. I'll break it down here for us. I didn't change Paraloot. They're continuing the win streak. I think they're pretty solidly at the top. The only thing I think that really could change my opinion is some Lurk Patrol wins. I value Lurk Patrol a lot here. I think I undervalued them a couple weeks ago, and they pretty much proved me and us wrong. Dominated Tickle Me Tassadar. They dominated Piecemeal. They dominated... Well, actually, they're playing AOL right now, Annie Oak League. I would expect that to be a domination. Obviously, I don't know what that's going to be. If you guys are peeking on over at it, feel free to spoil it. But I suspect that Lurk Patrol is going to take the domination over Annie Oak League, kind of solidifying them at number 2. With Lurk Patrol moving up, of course, Tickle Me Tassadar and Can't Counterpick Stupid move down. Can't Counterpick Stupid, they were 2-1, so they took a map off of Paraloot, but they were dominated by Plug Walk. So I could have probably moved them down a little bit, but I know that they've had really good matches earlier in the season. So that's kind of, they're getting a little bit of a bumper to keep them up there. Speaking of Plug Walk, they dominated Can't Counterpick Stupid, and they dominated Frank's Furters. So they moved up 3. 10 armor, just a couple weeks ago, 10 Armor was down at the bottom here. So to see them in 6 is a little bit strange. But 10 Armor did get a domination over Annie Oak League. So it's tough to really justify them not going up at least a little bit. Rainbow Strike go 2-1 to Annie Oak League, and they dominated Piecemeal. So I think I had Piecemeal at number 4 or 5 at some point when I was doing these. Piecemeal's really fallen down a little bit. They did get a domination over Frankfurters, but otherwise they're just not getting the wins. And what's unfortunate for them is as we're getting closer to the end of the season, they have the most matches played with 9. So they're running out of time to kind of gain more ground back. So I have them here at 8. Frankfurters and Annie Oak League, they're kind of going down by virtue of the other teams going up. Frankfurters were dominated by Plugwalk and TMT. Plugwalk was previously rank 8 team, and obviously Tickle Me Taster is a rank 3 team. Piecemeal, and they were dominated by Piecemeal. So, they're having a little bit of a rough time with the Division C move from Division D. And then Pigeon Stitches, I think, just doesn't have a lot of games played. And the games that they do have, they're just they're not getting wins. So they are going to solidly stay at 11. So there we go. Slexia, what do you think?
I think that it sounds like there's still time for a lot of teams aside from Piecemeal. I don't know.
That's the takeaway.
Yep.
That's
it.
Ryokai, I assume you got nothing?
Well, I'm just taking a look here, peeking over at Lurk Patrol versus Annie Oak League, and Lurk Patrol is currently up 1 game. They're just starting the second game here, so
Getting the edge on the competition. That's what they're doing. They're listening to the show as they're playing. Ziltoid, if you're ready, why don't you go ahead and bring on in some Division C West. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Am I wrong? I'm usually wrong, but let me know what you think.
So I apologize for any background noise. Just some things going on here, but we'll just plow on through. I think this is all right as far as the power standings do go. TMT did get dominated by Lurk Patrol, so putting them above is probably good, but Tickle Me Taster still has a pretty considerable lead when it comes down to the standings as we currently have them. And they have to kind of learn. And from talking to Serenian yesterday, he assured me that it was a fluke and nothing like that is going to happen for the remainder of the season. So
you like to hear. Yeah.
So we'll have to see if that is true. But I think Tickle Me Taster is one of those teams that can definitely back up anything like that. But Paraloot definitely has been doing well. Taking a victory over CCS kind of helped solidify where they should be relative to that team. And then Plugwalk taking the victory over Counter Brick Stupid, perhaps a bit unexpected. But I do think that if we're talking about C East being a really tight division, C West is probably even worse. When it comes down to just how much the 1 through 10 spots here can definitely swing around. It's very, very close. I don't want to undersell Rainbow Strike Go, and you did move them up substantially in the rankings, and I think that that's completely fair. They've had some good matches recently and have definitely been climbing their way up over kind of the lower end teams, and that should help them against any losses that they've suffered or will suffer against the top tier. Plugwalk is probably the one team that has a chance to really kind of shake up the standings here and maybe move up even higher if they can continue to get victories and move on. And 10 Armor, I don't know. They've been kind of running the Lompico sub a few times. And I think there's a limit of 3. And I think that they've had good experience so far each time Lompico's played with them. And I think when he can't sub for them anymore, we might see them not win so many games.
So, yeah, I think they played all 3 games. Well, so they lost their first one, and then the next 3 they've won, and those 3 were with Lompico.
Yeah, who's a Div A player. Is that the
difference maker?
It could
I think
be.
their first game they played, I think it was Can't Counter can't counterpick stupid. So it's also a good team.
Yeah.
So
10 Armor is one of those teams that also can dark horse this and kind of shake up the top of the standings. But I still think that Tickle Me Tacitore and Paralude are going to stay up there in the top 3 for sure. But the rest of those teams, I don't know. CCS was expected to, but taking those losses is not a good way to solidify that. And it's going to be hard to say if they can stay up there. Piecemeal definitely has been losing a lot of matches. I think the number 8 spot is going to be hard to hold on to, but the ones below them, Frankfurters, Annie Oak League, and Pigeon Stitches have not really been having any easier time with things. So it's hard to say who's going to take that who's going to be able to slide into that level or 8 seed spot when it comes playoff time.
Well, and Piecemeal, currently they're in. If you look at the standings, not the power rankings, they're sitting at number 5. They have 11 points, but they have the most losses in the game losses in the entire division with 13. Largely, I think, due to the fact that they've played 9 of their matches. But that's if you ranked it by just purely game losses, they would be in last place. So we'll have to see what happens. But I think their placement is largely just going to be dependent on what everyone else does, which is not where you want to be. You want to be in control of your own fate, obviously. So, alrighty. Well, I got nothing else to say on this. Slexia, are you ready? Division D, give us the Slexia power rankings.
Slexia power rankings. Wow, I feel so powerful with that gift being bestowed upon me. Little do the viewers know, I was gifted all of the power rankings as well. So let's get into them. So it looks like at number 1, it's too calculated to throw after 2-0ing Zul'jin Distillery. So it looks like they moved up in rank, and Zul'jin Distillery, or XGD as some like to say, moved down. Team Rectum in 3 with a hot streak of wins. They beat Wood Tap That. And so they went up 2 points here. So Wood Tap That, speaking of them, are right below Team Rectum at number 4, and they did beat Church of Murky. However, as mentioned, they did lose to Team Rectum. Let me say Team Rectum one more time. Team Rectum.
Oh, they knew what they were doing when they made
I know, last season casting, it was just always such a grand old time. So House of Ches down a spot in 5. They lost to Team Rectum. And they got a forfeit win. So Probe Us, or Probe Us rather, is next at 6th. Perhaps it says should be moved up, but still middle of the pack overall, and they're doing well against strong teams. So it's not bad to be in the middle when you're in mid-season. I almost said mid-seas, like it's it's a new term.
Mid-seas.
Mid-seas. We're mid-seas right now. You know what I mean?
Maybe it'll catch on. You never know.
Yeah. Mid-seas. Hashtag mid-seas. So beneath that in 7th is Church of Murky. They're doing good in standings. They have a forfeit win, and they lost to the other teams, that are above them in these rankings. And painfully average here in 8th place, noted here, actually has a map win. So good to know. And in 9th, and by the way, painfully average did move down 1. And I should note that Church of Murky, went down by 4 here.
Would Tap That in Church of Murky because of the win flip-flopped here.
Whoa, Nelly.
Whoa,
and then
Nelly.
Number 9, FF and the Pancakes, which not as good as Spooky Ghosts as far as names are concerned, but a close second here with no movement, but still there. Tryhards in 10th with forfeit wins. Did they give forfeit wins? Is that what happened here?
I'm guessing that's what they did.
All right, and they're not winning. FF and the Pancakes not winning, or rather censored here with Drew. And, you can't win games if you withdrew. So how many of these bottom 3 have withdrawn?
Yeah.
So I know. Just so I can speak in a non like, wow, they're 0 here.
It's only censored.
Only censored has withdrawn.
Yes, from this list. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's pretty much it. I appreciate the stats, and I do enjoy Division D. Always have. I think it's good times. I think last season it may have been Division C, but D always has the crazy games where you're just like, why am I seeing, this hero played with that hero, against like a meta team, a team that's trying to meta heroes, right? And then they just whoop them. They just beat them, dominate. And I don't know. I've had more experience casting D West this season, but I just, I love Division D, and I'm happy that I'm getting to go over these stats. Also, the Division D emote in Nexus Gaming Series Discord with the hand placing the D as it jiggles is just one of the best things. So shout outs to whoever.
Sometimes you just got to give people the letter D.
Was it Weenus that created it?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
You know it. You gotta know it. So yeah, with all of that being said, debate me. I have nothing. I have no rebuttal. But go ahead. Come on, Ziltoid. What's your?
Yeah, Ziltoid, do you got anything?
Division D. It doesn't look like it's slowing down. I think Zul'jin Distillery is one of the few teams that we thought might be
number one
roadblock, but that has not been the case. And they just steamrolled right over them and take that first position. And I don't think anyone's catching them at this point. Right. I think Too Calculated to Throw is just a powerhouse right now. Zul'jin Distillery, the move down to Division D has still done them pretty well as they're placing nice and high. Despite losing to Too Calculated to Throw, they've done a reasonable job this season in staying in those top spots, and not giving too much up to their opponents. Team Rectum definitely has made a good run of things, and they beat out a team that was on a hot streak, which is good. Yeah. So, Wood Tap that hasn't just jumped up because of beating Church of Murky. They've been winning games, lots of them. So they've been climbing the standings. They're still sitting in about 5th spot, but that's not where they were before. So getting some of that late power, which is good. The one downside though to Wood Tap that is they are at their 8th game. So it's coming down to the end of the season, and there's not a lot of opportunities to solidify that. So they really have to win the next matchups here coming out. And you could say the same thing of Church of Murky, who has dropped down in the power rankings a good bit. They basically just they need to start winning if they want to keep their playoff spot alive, because we have seen some good movement coming up from below, from House of Chez or House of Shea, from Probius, and Painfully Average got a victory. So those are still teams that they need to be concerned about. That can and will move up in the standings given the opportunity. So
interjection.
That's pretty much it.
Sorry, it's House of Shea. The Z.
I think so. Yeah.
My bad. Let me.
No, I don't think anyone really knows that. I was just corrected on it at one point.
Yeah, no, I heard.
Rip.
We all could be wrong. It could be House of I don't know.
I don't
know. Yeah, watch it be House of Cheese. Just
House of Cheese.
Yeah, so Wedge, who's been in the league quite long, says House of Shea. I believe Born to Shine also says House of Shea.
Wow, and it seems so much more sophisticated now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Division D, House of Shea.
House of Shea. That's what you're playing. House of Shea, the highfalutin Div D East team. Yeah. Sorry for the interjection.
No, I was done anyways. So
perfect.
So I got some thoughts, TM. And Slexia, this isn't against you because I know who did these power rankings. So I have no qualms about attacking that person. I think the Wood Tap that Church of Murky flip flop, I think, is a little bit knee jerk. Arthur now just said, "At me, you coward." Yeah, no, this is Arthanau's power rankings. Wood Tap that, I think that's a little too knee-jerk. They lost to Team Rectum, who obviously right here we have in 3rd. I don't necessarily know. This is hard to do, but it just seems like very knee jerky just to move them up 4 and then to move Church of Murky down 4 because of it. I don't know, just not sitting right. So that's just my thoughts. Thoughts, TM. I don't know. Ryokai, do you got any thoughts? I'm guessing no.
No, but I love you and Arthanel going back and forth, so continue doing that.
But only I have the mic. Ha but he's going to probably jump in here and say something. Anyways, I think we're ready. Let's move on to Division D West before Arthanel gets a rebuttal.
All right. Well, by the way, Arthanel is one of my new favorite people now because of what he said while you were adding him. Love it. And I wish he would come in here. Anyway, Division D West, one that I am familiar with from casting a couple games. We see here Full Meta Jacket at number 1. They're a dominant team. Second here is Camino Saber Darts. They did take a W over Clouded Minds, who was, I believe, undefeated until then.
That's correct.
And third would be the Baddest Dudes. They lost to Randy Newman in a domination, but overall they're still showing strong. Fourth, Clouded Minds losing 2 rankings here, as they did lose to Camino Saber Darts. So personally, I'm going to keep Clouded Minds at number 1, though, because I feel like it was probably a mistake that they lost.
No, I'm on Team Slexia here again, because the person who did these is knee-jerking this Camino Saber Darts way too high.
Okay, there's 6 points. I mean, that's an increase for the ages, but because they won against Clouded Minds. Now, I do know Clouded Minds has had some changes here. I did cast 2 of their games, I believe, 2 of their matches. So Weenus is shot calling now, and I think I've seen their potential. Weenus is not a bad player. He likes to put himself down and say, I'm trash or whatever, and then go in ARAMs and die nonstop. So we lose every game, but when in the position to shot call and actually try to win, he does a good job. So I've seen their wins, and I would have to disagree.
So this is a little bit of insider information. So, you can stop me wherever. But so Weenus is now shot calling. Do they have roster changes going on, or just a little bit of a different
I know
structure?
That they do have a new tank, right? So they have an offlaner, Tiger, and I forgot the name of the newer tank. Is it Zednim? It might be, if he's on the team.
Your guess is as good as mine, yeah.
All right,
I can't names out. There's so many people.
All right,
Are you fixing it? Are you fixing it, Arthanel? Why are you here? Why are you adding me?
No. Camino Saber Darts in their last 3 games has dropped 1 map, and they beat Clouded Minds, and you're going to tell me that they can't be above Clouded Minds?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
Dropping 1 map in the last 3 games? No.
Maybe logically, with all the statistics, 100%. But my heart and my soul puts Clouded Minds at the top. That's an unbiased opinion.
I think
biased.
the real crime, because they did move up 6 places, but I think the real crime was how low they were in the past, not so much how much they moved up recently. I think they were just too low in the past.
That could be.
All right, well, we'll find out. Time will tell.
I mean, they only have 4 games played anyways.
My hand's getting a little sweaty from the tension here. Can I continue?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Thank you. You can at Turd all you want, but don't at me.
Yeah, let's just move this along so that I can say stuff.
Yeah.
Yikes. Rip.
Everyone wants to at people.
I get non-Slexia. You're not the one slowing this down.
Okay, no, I'm very
the other ones.
I keep it moving, you know what I mean? No additional things to say, really. And by the way, I did spread the spreadsheet out. The column was a little too thin. Sorry about that. The boxes are spreading, so it's easier for me to read. I appreciate the question in live time, real time. Here we are. Outtakes again. All right, so I don't even know where I was. Oh yeah, Clouded Minds. All right, so they're in 4th here. Next would be Bloodbath and Beyond, losing 2 points in the rankings this week or over the past 2 weeks, however we're measuring it. They had a big domination over Disturbance, or did Disturbance have a big domination over them? It looks like they had a big domination. I was able to cast them against Clouded Minds, and not only do they have one of the best names in NGS as well, probably third place, but they're pretty solid. So seeing them in fifth is okay. Randy Newman, one of the most confusing teams to cast with all of the Randy Newmans and the various ways to type that out as the members of the team, are in sixth here without any movement whatsoever. They had a big domination over the Baddest Dudes. And I'm going to read this verbatim. And this is, no, I'm kidding. And it's something that's impacting the standings for someone who put these together. So Lucidology, it looks like they've moved up too.
I just read it.
Yeah. Okay. Good thing it's not a teleprompter. Jesus.
Yeah. Jeez.
Oh, so this says classic Lucidology. Slow start, but bringing big wins. Most recently, Yavapai County, and took a game against the Baddest Dudes. Cool. I can read that, and I'm not going to read the comments.
Wow, spicy.
Disturbance at 8 here, losing a point. Just losing a point. Yavapai County swim team also just here in 9th place, not living their best life. And poor Backbone in 10th place has not taken a single map. You hate to see it. Capital H, the number 8, number 2, capital C, capital I, capital T.
Here's my question. How does this division have so few games played?
I mean, on the West Coast, we like to take our time. We relax, and people eventually get around to it. Then it becomes like flex match time, or just you have all of your games to schedule. And I'm sure they'll just do it all in one day or 1 week. 3 games in one night, maybe 3 sets.
It's because literally no flex matches have been played.
Can I soapbox and just call out all of NGS at the moment? Everybody on any team, including the moderators, for not yelling at them. Report your games, dudes. Like, what are you doing?
There was a couple games I saw that were not reported.
There was so many games that weren't reported. Like, there was 4 different ones in Heroic that I had to go dig up in VODs to find, and it's a mess.
Isn't there a requirement? It's got to be within 2 days or something.
I mean, probably. I don't know. Some of them are from
Let's not find out.
Yeah, no, don't find out.
They're not in Stats of the Storm, so you can't get accurate statistics on stuff. It's a mess.
And then they yell at you when you put their power rankings at -8. So,
all right, lucky that I go the extra mile. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Ziltoid has been patiently waiting. He's been on the cusp of the seat.
At the bit.
He is chomping away, Mr. Ziltoid. What do you got to say about how bad Art's power rankings are?
Full Meta Jacket makes sense. They've been dominate at the top. I don't think they've dropped a set, so them not moving, they have nowhere to go. Camino Saber Darts, I guess, is the most polarizing kind of approve. I think that Arthanel is correct in the sense that they probably shouldn't have been as low, but they are one of those teams that no one knows very well. So when you look at those kinds of things, it's kind of hard to initially place a team that's not well known. I would say that they've had strong week, and taking out Clouded Minds is a really good start, and will definitely help them in the standings. But I will point out that they're above the Baddest Dudes who beat them, but it was a 2-1, and that is a good point as well to make. That Camino Saber Darts is definitely a team that you do need to take seriously throughout this league, because they have definitely showed up against good teams. So the 2-1 CM, so it wasn't a clear victory, and they were 1-2'd by the Baddest Dudes, and they 2-1 Yavapai County swim team. And I think it's rough to say where Yavapai County swim team actually sits, because their history so far, I think them being as low as they are isn't necessarily warranted.
Right.
They lost 2-1 to Yavapai County, or to Full Metal Jacket. They lost to Camino Saber Darts, and they lost to the Baddest Dudes. All three of these teams you could consider probably in potentially the top of our standings. But they did lose to Luciodology. But again, that's a team that we expect to actually be jumping up pretty high in the standings too as well. So this is a really tight division, and it's hard to really say who's going to be at the top. But I probably would have put the Baddest Dudes underneath Full Metal Jacket, Clouded Minds. Under that, I don't know. I think the fourth spot might be fair to Clouded Minds, just in the current state. But I don't know if 2 is where Camino Saber Darts goes. I'd probably maybe put them at 3. Bloodbath and Beyond, though, is another one that's been making waves, and I think they've taken some victories over some good teams, and definitely shouldn't be underestimated. They did drop, and I think that's mostly due to other teams moving up, but they won their last set over Disturbance. So, that's a good victory for them. And Bloodbath and Beyond also took out another big team recently.
Oh, I had this.
Who did they win? I'm trying to remember.
Disturbance.
Rainy No. They've only taken out. Camino or
Rainy Newman.
What? Oh, they haven't won. Looks like. Oh no, I picked the wrong one. My bad. I was thinking that was I clicked on Backbone. My bad. That's a different team.
Oops.
Yeah, Backbone hasn't been able to win, but I'm sorry to get to my point here. They beat Randy Newman. They went 2-1 with Clouded Minds. They lost to the Baddest Dudes, and they beat Disturbance. So Randy Newman, I think, is the interesting one because I think they're the most polarizing team on this list in the sense that they've only dominated or been dominated. They took out a team like the Baddest Dudes, who I think is actually one of the top 3 teams. So really kind of odd to place them, and I guess leaving them in 6th is fair. But them taking out the Baddest Dudes is pretty interesting, actually, that they were able to do that. Lucidology is making the climb, but they're running out of time. They really need to start making things happen if they want to go a bit higher. Yavapai County swim team hasn't been able to get the victories, but they've been taking out maps against better teams. So, since they're going against kind of weaker, I would say kind of more of the lower on the rung rankings, we might see them actually boost themselves up and maybe steal that playoff spot from Disturbance. That's all I got to say.
That's all I got to say too. Does anyone else have anything to say, or are we all out of things to say?
I think we're good.
I think we're good. Thank you very much, Ziltoid.
Problem.
Alrighty, guys, let us move on. We have a couple more things going on here. We have the Community Member of the Week, and I am happy to announce this person. It is Mr. Valcomer. Heyo, what a guy.
Mom or just Valcomer?
What's that?
Mom too, or just him?
Yes.
Good.
Gotta shut out Alex.
Wink.
Always.
Yeah. Valcomer has been doing some great stuff. Slexia has been helping him with the late night face check. You do the amazing intro.
Oh, well, thank you. I do the intros, yes. I'll get into a little more about that. I don't want to steal the shine of Valcomer, my champion.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he does some great stuff. He's got a backlog. I think he's got like 6 saved up, ready to go.
Yeah.
Just waiting on editing, which is really just on us for not getting that done fast enough. He's got a new episode coming out Monday night, so take a look at your local listings. If you actually go to YouTube right now, well, this might air after Monday, but maybe you can look
in
at
the future.
In the future.
You can actually subscribe for a notification or hit the bell for a notification for the premiere. It's showing as a premiere right now. And so any future episodes, you can be like, oh, I tried to click it and watch it. I was like, oh, which joke did I do for this intro again? And then it's like, oh, it's a premiere. So get notified, and you can go ahead and select get notified, and right away you'll see it once it's live.
It's honestly something I didn't know YouTube did. So really cool. But Valkymer is doing some great stuff, and we love to see it. We're glad to have him as part of he's in our little analyst Discord, helping out, always asking great questions. So keep up the good work. All right. And now let's get into game of the week really quickly. I'll start us out today. I'm going to go with the Division C match of the week. It's going to be Boogan Squad versus Wood League. I don't think that comes as any surprise, really. There's some other ones that it could be, but that's going to be on 8 p.m. on Tuesday, the August the 9th. That's a first place team versus a potentially first place team. So that's my game of the week. Ziltoid, what's your game of the week?
Paraloot versus Tickle Me Tassadar.
Oh, that's a good one.
I mean, C West, this is basically what I would say the two top teams in that division actually going at it. And I think that if you miss it, you're going to be very disappointed. The funny thing, too, is that is happening on August 15th, which is my birthday.
Well, that's a happy birthday to you, mister.
I won't be home to watch it, though, unfortunately.
Well, there you go, because you'll be celebrating your birthday.
Yeah.
Rio Kai, what about you? What game of the week? What do we got for us?
So my game of the week is going to be Beast Coast versus Hodis in Division B East. That's the number 2 and number 4 seed. That's happening on Wednesday, August 14th. There's a couple other good games happening on Monday night, which probably will be after this episode releases. So I'll shamelessly plug my own team. We're playing Wholesome Halfwits. Yikes S tier versus BBW, and Jailbait versus Beast Coast. Also, I think all three of those are going to be pretty solid games. So go back, watch those VODs, and watch the one on Wednesday.
Oh, and I do want to make a quick correction. It is August 13th that the Boogan versus Wood League. I just can't read. So I said 9 instead of 13.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Exactly. Slexia, do you got a game of the week? One that we would need to watch? One that you're casting?
I don't have anything lined up for casting this week yet, but I would echo Ryokai here with the Yikes S tier versus BBW because it's so taut up there in the top of heroic division, and with celeb gaming being there and Yikes S tier being at the top. BBW, I think they're in 4th. It's it's pretty tight up there, and it's going to tell a lot, I feel, because I feel like once you've maintained that spot, you can just see who the dominant teams are, especially with the changes of Heroic and Division A a little bit, some teams coming over. It's going to maybe give us a little peek into semifinals, finals, and maybe even grand finals.
There we go. Alrighty, guys. Now we're moving into the top 5 highlights of the week. So without further ado, here's number 5.
Big stun from Tyrande, but not enough follow-up damage. Silver taking too much on the front side, having to back out. He has that Savor the Flavor. So if he can get an E-cast off, it's going to heal him up tremendously. But look at the Light Bomb. 4 heroes hit by Pina Colada. Means a kill on Artanis. But it's going to be countered right back on Misha, Vala, and the Phoenix. A triple kill could be more. Rexar's low end will fall. Make it 5. Actually, a full team wipe here for Team Rainbow Strike Gold, holding their Immortal at 814 health points. Goal is saying, now that's a lot of damage.
And coming in at number 4, show the clip.
He can give his team an advantage here. 2 turrets on both sides. There's a huge Imperious spike with the power slide. What a fantastic engage, and it's going to secure the first kill on the kill toss. Now Alazar goes down. Kook's running away. That was one of the best engages I've ever seen.
And at number 3, show the clip.
Stunning him. Careful VP, careful VP, careful VP.
Yeah, I'm trying to...
I'm VP'd. I might be able to kill Gross here.
Trying to help you.
I'm on Zertul, I'm on Zertul.
Moshing.
Nice. That's a 4-man, get all the kills. Greyman first.
I got... Here,
Gross.
I got hammer.
You kill him if you get one more auto. Nice.
He's dead. I mean, Slaying his death out is fine.
I still have hammer.
Nice.
Alright, cool.
Cap bottom. Junkrat bottom. Mid. Junkrat bottom.
Your number 2 clip coming right at you.
Completely. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication there. Maybe Jaina was expecting more much, but I'm not sure. Here comes Swipe. Here we Counter-Strike hits 4 people, and that is horrible for the members of Reach and Blue. They get blown up to pieces. 3 members dead immediately.
And for your number 1 top highlight of the week, show the clip.
Feigned death from Rexar probably needed. Ulysses not wanting to be any part of that CC combo. No heroics except the cocoon as of yet. There's the feigned death as a light bomb coming out, stunning 3. There's the crushing jaws behind it, but it's a Diablo with his lightning breath out. Unstoppable, doesn't fall. Ziltoid leaping all around, 200 health surviving. It's Sonya next in trouble, and she will fall. A quad kill for logical decision. Just the Vala remains standing.
And those were the highlights of the week. So hopefully you guys enjoyed those. And I know I like them. So I know that we all like them too. So moving right along, we're going to talk about Valkymer again. His late night face check that's premiering this Monday was with Captain Murder. I don't remember what Team Murder's on. Slexia, do you remember?
No. Nope.
That's okay. But
Nope.
we will certainly find out once we check out the late night face check. So everyone go ahead and check that out. It'll be premiering on Monday.
So something to add to the late night face check is I accidentally told a joke with the intro for the first one. And now it's something that
Thank you.
I'm bearing the cross of telling jokes now with every single episode. And to be honest with you, I'm not that clever when it comes to HOTS, puns, and jokes. So I've been soliciting for them like within my streams, and I got the help of Not Paradox for a couple jokes you'll hear with a few of the future episodes. Some original jokes. You'll love to hear them. Weenus helped me out a bit, and those ones are spicy, but I'm going to call out to the NGS community to help me out here. Your best HOTS joke or pun, link that somewhere. Where should they put that? Can we create a channel that's like late night face check intro jokes or something? Like, let's get this going. I need some funny stuff to read. There were some really bad ones. I had to do the, and spoiler alert, I think it's on this next episode. I had to do the why did KT stun Johanna?
I don't know.
He had a lapse in judgment.
Oh. I just want to. Ow.
Well, I feel like Weenus telling jokes no one laughs at. I need jokes, guys. I'm begging you.
Even Arthur says, "Woof."
Yeah.
No, it was good. I mean, it was good. It was good. So,
I mean, it got me through the intro, but like you said, Valkymer's just churning these things out, and it's like this well has run dry.
The joke well.
Help me. Yeah. The forums have run dry.
Why don't we throw the question? If you have any jokes, tag Slexia in Edge questions.
Yes.
There we go.
Please.
And we can put Slexia jokes.
We'll allow it this once.
So there we go. Great. Check out his newest episode. And I think with that, we're ready to move on to our final topic, the Edge questions from the community. So let's start with this one. Comes from the dude. I don't know where the dude is or what team he plays on, but he asks, assuming, oh boy, how do you say her name? Kira,
yeah.
Kira.
I always want to say like the Q, like Quira or something, but yeah,
I don't think that's right.
Kira, it's like a K.
Oh.
The H makes it so you don't do the
but it messes with my brain. So
nice.
Kira.
Something messes with Ryokai's brain, guys. We found it.
We discovered it. Play Kira.
There it is.
Just spam it in chat. Anyways, back to the question. Assuming Kira isn't banned out for the rest of the season, do you see her making a large impact in the meta? If so, what role do you think she will fill? With her dueling capabilities and albeit limited self-sustained, do you see her being played in the off lane at all? So kind of a couple compound questions, but
Let Rio take it.
What's that?
Let Rio take it. He's been wanting to talk about Kira all night.
Oh yeah, he's mentioned a couple times. So
I was
Rio,
Go ahead, read
helpfully
it.
reminding you. Okay.
Yeah. Go
I
ahead, bud.
think currently she's pretty strong, but I feel like a lot of it is numbers. And so her kit itself, like, I'm kind of worried if they nerf her numbers too much that she'll kind of be useless. So I'm like slightly worried about that. She's like a weird combination of like Maiev, Illidan, and like Lunara. She's like a weird mishmash of all three of them. I don't know where she'll end up. Part of that is the numbers problem. I don't know. I think she could work as an offlaner, but currently the problem is like the rest of her kit is like it just works better the more people you have around you because you can heal more, you put out more dots on more people, you can like spin around more people and reposition easier and like all this other stuff. So I think she'll probably end up in the 4-man, but like what 4-man needs like this weird sustained damage bruiser melee assassin thing that isn't really an assassin because she can't really burst people. I don't know. It's weird. So I don't know where she'll end up. She's pretty fun to play. But yeah, I don't know. She's a mystery. That's all I got.
She is a mystery. So the answer to the dude is Slexia, have you checked out Kira?
So I haven't played her because it's not really my thing to play like a melee assassin. I played against her and obviously on day of release played with everyone and their mom trying her out. So you saw, builds being created and things being tried, dots being put on people and stuff. But I feel like once she's nerfed, which she will be, because there's always the complainers and, her win rate is very high right now. She's overtuned a bit. I don't know how relevant she'll be. She's one of those niche heroes probably where once people figure out how to play her, she can be terrifying. But right now it's still just like trial and error, I think, for everyone.
Right. There we go. Ziltoid, have you checked out Kira? What do you think about the dude's question?
Yes, of course, and I've had long discussions about it in plenty of different places on Discord. And
the analysts were going off this week.
Yeah, in the end, she is strong right now, but like Rio said, I think it's entirely tied to her numbers. If you don't have those high damage numbers, which are almost certainly going to get nerfed, her place in a competitive meta is going to drop completely out. She does, like I said, have some similarities to Maiev, but in a lot of those situations, when you ask the question, which one would I'd rather take, it's probably still going to be Maiev in the long run. Yeah. She just works better in a lot of ways as a ganker. She's safer. Because Kira, while she does have like that untargetable capability, she does have some good self-sustain that Maiev doesn't have. Maiev can get in and out of fights way more efficiently. And that's kind of, I think, the big thing that makes it where Kira's kit just is hard to really place and where it'll actually sit. Can she take that melee assassin spot like a Zeratul and like a Maiev and make a similar impact? And I think the answer right now is maybe. And if she does get damage nerfed, it's going to be no.
Yep. Well, I played against her the first time today, and I had no idea what she does. So I'm not going to answer the question.
I feel like she's really vulnerable during one of her ults. That is the most powerful one, and that's
the one where she's doing this thing.
You're almost safer to take the other one just because it's on a short cooldown and you can cast it at range.
Yeah, I've been liking the other one, especially the level 20 upgrade for the AoE like spin thing. Is like so tiny when it starts that you can't really get like multi-person silences off of it, even if you have like a mosh pit or something. So yeah, I've just been going the other ult, and the execute damage on it is like pretty good. Well, yeah, it's obviously good, but it's only like 25%, so you don't even need to use it for the execute. You can just use it to like burst people and enable them below 50% for all your other execute stuff. So yeah, you can just do that at the start of a fight when everybody's clumped up running into a fight, all in a line anyway. So yeah, she's kind of weird where you like has weird unintuitive uses for her abilities and stuff that
right.
I don't know.
Well, Orphea did too when she came out, with like the dash after her Q and all of that. So these unique things you just have to really get used to. And it's not like she's OP if you know how to play her. It's just everyone's still learning, not Orphea, but Kira. And having her, pardon me, in ARAMs right now has been a real bear, I'll have to say. I love ARAMs. It's my favorite mode. And just, it's rough. It's rough out there in the ARAM.
I get why people are screaming for nerfs because it feels oppressive to play against in a lot of situations. But I do think when we are actually talking competitive meta, those same situations that occur in quick matches and ARAMs and even regular Storm League matches just don't really exist in that environment.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next question. So these next two questions are going to be our two community questions from last week and this week. So starting with, and of course, if you guys are just catching on, community questions, DeWitt has asked the captains certain questions. So I'm going to ask you first, and then we're going to see what the community has to say. So the first question here is, it's kind of about new heroes. If you could pick the universe that the next hero comes from, what would it be? So Slexia, why don't you start us out?
Oh, so I'm going to stick with the status quo World of Warcraft universe with Deathwing. And hear me out. Not because, everyone wants Deathwing, but I think it's an opportunity to change maps or something, like destroy a map, like bring back Haunted Mines, but like have Deathwing's Wrath, maybe that's how maps get fixed. Like Deathwing actually accidentally fixed this map. I'm looking at you, Hanamura. No, I'm kidding. But I feel like you can use some of his cataclysmic things to add some spice and excitement. So I think it would be what?
Make Haunted Mines a 3-lane map.
Yeah, just hack it in half. Let like 2 5v5 ARAMs happen at once or something, and then you're working together but separately. I don't know. There's just ways to incorporate him and that universe and the events that take place in Azeroth throughout the expansions.
Right.
More than just like a map. We haven't even what World of Warcraft map do we have?
I think Alterac Pass is about it, right?
Yeah, and it's a bad rendition too. So there are opportunities here. And if not Deathwing, I just think World of Warcraft. There's so many opportunities. Like there's just so much there, so much lore, so many heroes, and not even just Deathwing as the dragon, but as the person, as the dragon aspect or whatever he is. Can be exciting. So we have Chromie and we have Alexstrasza. I don't know. I'm sounding too much of like a nerd right now, but there's a lot. There's a lot we can do. And I think if we were to think of like HOTS 2.0 and take it to like this hero has been wanted for so long, it's had this kind of impact that it's been cataclysmic on our maps, that would bring back some excitement. So that's what I think.
Very nice. Ryokai, what do you think for universe?
I am also going to go with Warcraft. Unfortunately, I think most of the Diablo characters that I would know or want are mostly already in the game. They have most of the Diablo heroes, I think.
I think they
and
have
then
all of them.
StarCraft is the universe that I've played the least, so unfortunately I don't really have much knowledge there. For Warcraft, Deathwing is obviously like number one at I think the community's list right now. In general, I have a couple. I played a lot of Warcraft 3, so Lady Vosh is up there. Manaroth or a Pit Lord or something would be up there.
Yeah, a Pit Lord, any of them.
I think one of the I forget their actual name in the lore. I'm gonna get exposed. But like Archimond or Kil'jaeden, I forget their Eridar or something like that. They have a special certain name or something because they're Sargeras transformed or something. But
Eridar are the original race of the
Draenei.
Yeah.
So let's all out nerd each other today.
I don't know what their abilities would be, but they're just cool characters that why not put them in the game? Because I want them. So yeah, something like that.
What about
could be
a Hala map? Like the Battle of Hala.
Yeah, that'd be. Somebody recommended. I think Shamhat in her late night face check interview suggested either Twin Peaks or Warsaw Gulch for a HOTS map. I want to capture the flag map in HOTS so bad now. Like that idea was just instantly genius. And
what if they could create like a multi-level map, like in Warsaw Gulch, how you could stand up there and watch someone cap and then just jump down on them?
Yeah, there's tons of ideas.
I mean,
that would be.
It's
awesome.
the maps, not the heroes. I think that's.
There we go. Ziltoy, what about you? What are you thinking?
I'd say Warcraft just because they do have a lot of other things, but I think there are still plenty of stuff out of Diablo that you can definitely pick up, and definitely out of StarCraft 2 as well. And both of those universes have been somewhat neglected. So I do think a hero from one of those areas. The last one we got from Diablo was Mephisto, and the last one we got from StarCraft, I don't even know. It's been so long since we had
Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix.
Was Phoenix the last one? That's like a year ago plus.
Because they put out
that's a long time. Like Phoenix,
I know a lot of people.
The last StarCraft hero is a problem. I think they need to find another one.
I don't know
think
whether
it's a problem.
was before
I think
Imperius either.
Yeah, you're right. Imperius was the last one. That's correct.
Oh, Diablo, yeah. Diablo, you could do Leah. I know I've said it here before. Leah would be cool. Some sort of transformation thing. As far as what I think,
and she's just Diablo. Wrong. What's the point of that?
Well, whatever, man.
She's not cool before she becomes Diablo. So
I thought she was cool. All right, whatever.
Spoiler alert.
She doesn't do anything amazing. Is all I'm trying to.
Yeah, there was a.
Doesn't qualify her as a nothing that she does qualifies her as a hero of the storm.
All right, fine. Then my next favorite.
Adria would make sense though.
Yeah. Okay, fine. My universe would be I want more Nexus originals. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong, but I like them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they give you they throw a stick in the spokes of, the community that's nerd raging over Deathwing, that's for sure. But yeah, there are opportunities, but they have all these various Nexus events, and they have this what is it, like the Mecca and this
thing.
What are the other things? And then they have
the dragon.
Oh, hello.
Anyways, there's all kinds of stuff that they could be doing, but
it's just like maybe they need to tie them more together. Like, okay, you brought Orphea, so it made no sense to bring Kira in, and the teaser wasn't even like, I don't know. Why not? I mean, you killed my husband, Dragon Shire lady. Like, she would be an angry, mean lady. People would want to play her. And that's Mimi. Give her a soccer mom van like Morales.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, why can't we have, cooler Nexus original heroes? Kira kind of seemed a little pasted on. I think the rumor is that they had her in the works and they were going to work on her story, but then, HOTS is a classic game now, so.
Right. Well, and she comes from what? Like her intro is like her in like a jungle type environment. Like, is there going to be a jungle type of map? Like, so, that would be cool.
It seemed like it was something with that little crystal thing. Something with the Nexus universe. They didn't really flesh out her story like they did with Orphea. Orphea, they did. Arthur says it's the Lion King meets HOTS. But they with Orphea, they kind of explain that gem controls going between realms, and she has one. So I don't know. I read the comic books. That was probably controversial in and of itself. Yeah, Slexia is giving a look like. Yeah. Okay. Well, so
I read them. Yeah. I read them too. It was good.
I liked them. I thought they were fine. Whatever.
I honestly didn't know they had comics.
TLDR will get a version of them later.
Yeah. There you go. Anyways, so the community voted, and most of them agreed with you guys. So 7 of the captains responded Warcraft, but 7 of the captains also responded Overwatch.
Yeah, I figured that would be there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, people want Overwatch, but I mean, it's super popular. If we look at the esports scene there right now, like, it's still going strong. And so people do play that game heavily. Yeah. It's just, I don't feel like the audience that plays HOTS still, no matter the state that it's in, necessarily plays Overwatch that much to where we're just like Oh, give us one of those. I think we're all like WoW players that are here now because we love the lore and we've dabbled in like Warcraft 3 and we've played a little bit of Overwatch when it was free and like, I can't handle an FPS, I'll vomit. Like there's various reasons, but I know there are a lot of cool heroes there with a lot of cool things that could come into the Nexus, but I think the fans really want the Warcraft, and that's why why we keep getting them.
And that's the votes. Only one other person agreed that they wanted the Nexus. So it's me and one human.
I do think Overwatch has a couple that could be cool. I think part of the problem is like some of the Overwatch kits are very similar to currently existing HOTS kits. Like Mercy and Morales are really similar with just like put a beam on somebody and heal them kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But
and
I think
wasn't laughing at you, by the way. Arthanow says that he was the other person who voted.
Got the peanut gallery of Arthanow here. But I think Reinhardt or Brigida could be cool, as just having like a shield block skill shots thing.
It'd be a neat tank.
Yeah. I think it's Sombra. I don't know Overwatch very well.
I think it's Sombra. I say Sombra.
The one that hacks stuff. She can do that on like healing wells or something and disable them for like...
It's pronounced Sombra.
I feel like D.Va has the thing that blocks damage,
of 20
right?
seconds. I don't know.
D.Va
but there's a couple that I think could be
blocking
cool
ability.
that they could potentially do. So I'd be down for Overwatch too.
There's too much mobility in HOTS, I think, for like a damage blocking thing to be relevant,
It'll be interesting to see. That's just what the community voted. So
interrupts mobility. Sorry.
No. Real quick, we'll get in this last one and then we'll close out the show. This last community question was, what is your favorite ability in the game? So I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. Ziltoid, are you ready? You're kind of making a face like you're not ready. You're not ready. Slexia, do you have a favorite ability?
Not ones that I use, but I'll talk about some of... I have two favorites. One would be the Falstad fly ability, because not only is it hilarious to see him fly, but it's just cool to have that ability. But like, have you ever just been playing and like you see him fly over your head or whatever? You just see him zoom across the map. I think it's hilarious to see that Griffin take off. And then the Oriole upgrade, or the Oriole level 20, where you can fly across the map. I picked it once as a meme. A same kind of thing. It's hilarious.
I've actually, I did not know that Oriole had a level 20 that did that.
I don't know what the range on it is. I've only ever seen other people pick it, so I have no idea. Like, it could be global for all I know.
Hilarious. It is pretty much global, it feels like. And it's just hilarious to be able to fly across the map. Just seeing a hero fly in the game while you're playing, like pick up and fly, is funny to me. And that's why those abilities are pretty awesome. But as far as abilities that I use personally, Sylvanas had her E. I love her escape. And I love that it does damage, and I love the buffs on it and how much you can get from it depending on what build you go. It's so versatile, and Haunting Wave will be my answer. That's the name of it, right? Ryokai, I forgot all of her abilities.
Haunting Wave, yeah. My favorite ability, Force Wall, especially with the level 20 upgrade. That is absolutely
toxic.
It's impossible to like get tilted if you just pick Force Wall and get level 20. Like, it's just the funnest game.
You're a toxic tilter.
You
may not be tilted, but wow, especially in an ARAM, that can be just a game changer. Nice choice.
Very nice. Ziltoid, what do you got for us?
I enjoy the illusions on Samuro. I just love the interaction and the play, and the what you can do with those things can just get so fun. I don't know. I always enjoy myself when I play Samuro in almost any setting, and I think it's because of the clones, and probably the Windwalk. Like, the combination of those abilities is really good, but also the clones overall is what I enjoy.
I'm a big fan of Reign of Chaos. The
Reign of Destruction, you mean, from Gul'dan, right?
Yeah, whatever that is. That one.
It's chaos.
The one where you don't have to channel it anymore, right?
Yeah, it's actually OP.
Yeah, and the Reign of Destruction.
It's still not good.
No, actually, it's debatable, but it's really not at the same time. There are people like die hard, like, yeah, this is good now, but like,
Well, Ziltoid
We
was
know the
casting a
answer.
game this week that they picked it. I think they won with it.
Yeah, who knows? Okay, so Devil Kegs, like, Who Knows Gaming is winning. They were taking the top shrine. They're straight up the only structure the Devil Kegs had dropped on was the bottom fort at the bottom half of the map.
Right.
And instead of going up there to fight, they came down, caught Brightwing, killed her, pushed through into the bottom, took out the keep, and Who Knows Gaming wasn't too concerned. They're like, whatever, we'll get the shrine, we'll pop back, get a defense. They're not going to be able to core here. Well,
Yeah.
they were wrong. Reign of Destruction took that shield down so fast it was like over by the time they
Is it a
actually made the backs back.
Ring of Destruction or just
No.
a normal?
No name.
No, it was just a flat damage onto the to the core.
Onto the core. Yeah, and that was what you were saying in the cast was the ridiculous amounts of damage that it was doing despite not having the nano. So anyways, this was a community question, so who cares what we say? The community, the only one on here that's the same as what was said here was Force Wall. Community picked Force Wall. There's no ranking of this one. Power Slide was another one. Shadow Charge. So just running into things, I guess, is really cool to people. Mosh Pit was good. Tongue Grab. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Syndragosa. Yeah, that's really cool. And Sonya Leap, Horrify. Those are the ones. So
Sonya
Kinda-
Leap is pretty cool, though, if you think about it.
which one?
Sonya Leap is pretty cool, if you think about it.
Her
But-
little yell. It always scares me.
or
Yeah.
something. It's not as good as flying across the map, though.
What if she flew across the map and then made that noise?
She kind of does. But if she flew, like globally flew, that would be like an oh-ish moment. You know what I mean?
There you go. All right, let's close out the show, guys. Before we do close out, I do have Arthanel kind of made this announcement in the Discord, but I wanted to make it here on the show. We are introducing 2 more rotating panelists onto the show. One of them is here today. That's Ryokai. And the other one is going to be Mongoose. These are people that have helped us behind the scenes for the whole season. And they're going to continue to do so. Wono and Ziltoid are not leaving. They're still going to be an integral part of the show. Just all of our schedules are getting extremely busy. And this is a way to kind of help share the burden and make sure that, we're keeping things fresh here. Ryokai has a lot of opinions that are a lot different than Ziltoid's. So, keep the opinions fresh. Always good. And it's good to have you 2 on here. You don't want to hear from me all the time. Because I'm
That's
not
debatable.
I am not smart. But anyways, yeah.
Smart.
No. Yeah, that's we'll have those 2 extra panelists coming in here and there. Wono being out obviously makes it so we'll have Ryokai I think here for those episodes where available. So keep an eye out for that. But let's end it. Let's kill it. Kill the show. I want to give a quick shout out to our research analyst behind the scenes. Key was big this week. Ryokai, you're right here. You did a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Himibo, Marshhole, they both stepped up in week 4. Dominator and Blank also stepped up in week 4 and week 5. So keep up the good work, guys. It's incredible help with incredible stuff that you guys do to help us out. And also to Phalendrith, of course. I always forget him, but Phalendrith with the Stats of the Storm, this show would be nothing without Stats of the Storm. So thank you again. And that's it. So I personally want to thank all the panelists. So Ryokai, why don't you start? Where can the people find you?
I'm Ryokai everywhere. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitch. I'm in Discord. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Reddit. That's about it. Find me everywhere.
That's everywhere. Ziltoid, where can the people find you?
Same thing. LD Ziltoid on Twitch and Twitter and YouTube.
Perfect. Slexia, thank you for being our very special guest. Where can the people find you?
Thanks for having me. And the people can find me in the Nexus, obviously, always. You can find me playing Teamfight Tactics as well lately, Ryokai. I figured the game out now, fight me.
Ooh. Fighting words.
Just kidding. I won once and I feel great. You can find me on my Twitch at twitch.tv/Slexia. Also introducing each episode of the Late Night Face Check with your host and my champion, Valcomer. And coming soon, special announcement. Are you ready?
Is this a first ever?
Yeah, it's a world premiere here. It's not a premiere, actually. It's just a teaser. Weenus and I are working on something together. If you like our chemistry, if you like the spicy sauce, if you like the moistness, you got to check it out. We'll tease a little bit more as time goes on, but it's going to be something fun for us. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. If you don't like it, fair. But that's going to be happening soon. Also, you can find me on Twitter at Sparklez, SHPARKLEZZ. And I just want to say thank you for having me again. It was so fun the first time. It's fun this time. I've definitely blossomed into more of a figure, I think, within NGS since then. Not going to say because of the show, but I'm going to say it's because I like to spend my free time doing stuff that involves games that I love. So I truly appreciate the opportunity to be on here, and I think it's a great community. So I'm excited to be on it again next season. No,
Of course.
And I want to shout out a couple people, or is that after all this, or is this the shout outs? I can't remember.
After this, I say goodbye.
I never stop talking, so you have to just cut this all out. I want to shout out you guys, and I want to shout out Weenus. I also want to shout out, Not Paradox, for some opportunities recently with that tournament, and also just his co-casting with me. It's always a good time. He co-casted with me before, and now doing it again, we kind of have this momentum that I really enjoy. He's the smart one with all of the analytical things to say, and I'm the one that makes puns because I've been hanging around Weenus too long. But those are my shout outs, and thank you guys again for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Of course. And thank you to everyone for watching. This is Turd Herder here saying adios, amigos. Remember to stay safe in the Nexus and take your hots to the edge. All right, that's it.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking of.
That spicy taste.